And at first everyone's like, "Oh, how cute, a monkey's on top of you, you've been chosen." No, you've been chosen for possible death. Maybe I'll just stay in college for forever and keep studying abroad. Oh my god, I forgot I got a concussion. I got a concussion there. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I haven't Taco Bell in like years. All the way back because we're gonna demolish this food. Taco Bell might be controversial, but Taco Bell will always have a place in my heart. Just like my dad. I don't even know if he watches my videos. I hope my sister laughed from that. I'm in a random neighborhood again. I hope no one can you see the street? I think it's fine. So I got nacho fries, obviously. I also got a spicy potato taco. And I also really wanted to try the dipping burrito thingies. I don't know if that looked appetizing, I couldn't see. Seemed appetizing to me. I got this chipotle sauce. Mmm. Mmm. It's not as life-changing as I hope. But it's not a letdown either. I'm still very much satisfied. This is yummy. I miss Taco Bell. I don't even know what this sauce in here is. It's delicious. I think it's like a creamy cilantro sauce in here. What if I'm still hungry after this? All of this was only $10. It's not that bad. But my go-to at Taco Bell is the Crunchwrap Supreme. Oh my god. It's just perfect. My stomach might hit me for that later, but present me is so happy. That's all that matters, right? Clear. Oh! Damn! Okay, I'm awake! Let's get to it. It's been almost 15 minutes and I haven't even started talking because I was too excited about Taco Bell. As you may or may not know, I have studied abroad 3 times. Sounds crazy. It's not crazy. Sometimes I forget that I even gone and I remember and I'm just like, holy moly, I went through that? I can't believe that happened to me. Okay, Bali in 2022, Costa Rica in 2023, and Ghana in 2024. Sorry, I have a fire in my mouth still. Each of these programs that I attended were only a month long, so about like 4 weeks or so. I learned about the good side and the bad side. I learned about the government and how it affects the people, just like the rules or customs that the culture has. And because I was there for a while, I was really immersed into the culture. It isn't always fun and games, you know, like I'm actually learning. But anyways, let's put the learning aside because these are my actually crazy study abroad stories. Alright, in Bali, Indonesia. It's beautiful. I feel like a lot of people don't know this, but Indonesians and Filipinos look very similar. Like I was walking around and I'm like, I fit in. The only thing that made me stand out was my hair and maybe my clothes. Out of like almost the 30 days that I was there was a couple days where no one commented on my looks, which is probably when we didn't really see anybody besides ourselves. It would always go like, wow, you're so beautiful. Are you Balinese? You're so beautiful, you have to be Balinese. Let's start with my favorite story. I got really close with the girls in my Bali trip, and one of the girls that I got really close with is named Priscilla. She was 2 years younger than me, so 19. Near the end of our trip, we went jet skiing because we were like, we're in Bali, let's go jet ski. We had jet ski lessons, so we each had instructors. I don't know if it was like a special treatment kind of thing. I was first person to go and the last person to come back. I came back, they're like, Mads, something happened to Priscilla, and I was like, I'm going to her. I'm going back to the place where all of our stuff is. And I see her and she's sitting down and her leg is up and she's crying. And I'm like, Priscilla, what? She said that she stepped on a sea urchin. Huh? A sea urchin? That's like... So the spikes were still in her foot and it was like 12 spikes. I think it was in like this part of her foot. Is that a ball? The ball of your foot? I don't know. I didn't know how to help her, so I was just like holding her hand because they can't like pull out the needles. Your body has to naturally bring it out. And they were saying like, oh, if you want the pain to go away, because it's like a stinging pain, we can grind it and then your body can easily bring it out. And that was like, no. They were like, well, you could pee on it, which is kind of gross. But I mean, if you think about it, you pee on like jellyfish stings, or supposed to, right? She was crying and she was just like in so much pain. She's like, I don't have to pee. And I look at her and I'm like, Priscilla,
I have to pee.
and then she was like, okay. So I go to the bathroom. They give me a cup and I pee in the cup. And I walk out. My pee is bright yellow, okay? We just went in the ocean. I did not drink any water. I was drinking salt water. I am like dehydrated. And it looks like beer. People think it's beer. And so the guy pours it on her foot. And then she's like, oh my god, it's warm. Like, I'm sorry. But then her pain went away. She got the help she needed. She's all better now. But yeah, so I peed on my friend. Well, peed in a cup and then I poured it on my friend. Another crazy thing are the monkeys. People like hype up this monkey forest, and where we stayed was in Ubud, and it is like down the street from the monkey forest. Like, it wasn't far at all. And so of course we had to go. Me and my roommate Natalie, we go to this monkey forest. I just don't understand why monkeys are so like humans, but then they're like treated so differently. But they're really big monkeys, okay? They're not some little cute monkeys. They're like almost the size of me. Like, them sitting down is like the whole size of my torso. And the bigger ones are even bigger, and especially when they stand up. I'm trying to stay calm because I feel like they could sense my fear. But anyways, we're walking through this beautiful forest, and there's like workers there. They're feeding the monkeys. I mean, cool, you get to see a bunch of monkeys. These monkeys are not your friends. They will open your bags. They will steal stuff from you, take things from your hands. They can smell your food, any kind of food that you have. They're easily aggravated. I mean, you're for the most part safe. And then there's this guy, he has this big backpack on, and there's a humongous monkey on top of him. I don't even know how many pounds, but really, really big, okay? Like this big or something. And at first, everyone's like, oh, how cute. A monkey's on top of you. You've been chosen. No, you've been chosen for possible death. Because the monkey starts opening his backpack. They have hands. And so he starts unzipping it. And we were like, oh, he's going through your bag. And so he's trying to like shake him off. And he's like, I don't know how to get him off. The monkey grabs his keys, and I'm like, he has your keys. And then someone's like, get him off, get him off. And so this guy goes like, psh, and the monkey goes, like, he slams on the floor, and he looks at the man, and I'm like, oh, holy shit, like, what's gonna happen? And he stares at the man, and he goes like, what is this? Snarls? And then there's fangs. They have huge fangs. I'm not even gonna lie, I did not stay for more. Me and my roommate, we turned around. We're not taking this path. There was another encounter in the monkey forest where this girl, she had a monkey, and it was a smaller one, and it was on her back. I don't know why they go on top of you. No, nothing's touching me. If you get bitten or scratched by a monkey, you need to take a rabies shot. And the needle is like this big. The monkey was on her back. Everyone's like, oh, how cute, whatever. And she's like taking pictures with the monkey on her back. And then he starts humping her head. And I'm just like, this is harassment. Should we even be here? Do the monkeys even want us here? And that is why you should not support animal tourism, folks. French fry break. The bugs in Bali are crazy. They had ants like the size of bees. It was really big. I never got bit by one. And there are mosquitoes freaking everywhere because of the humidity. I had over 40 mosquito bites on my body in one time. Like, I counted it. And then I stopped counting when I reached 40 because I was over it. It was just too much. I mean, I still tried to prevent it and I took care of it, but it was just something I got used to. I also have a day-by-day, day in my life videos on TikTok. I'll put the link in my bio if you want to check them out. Oh my god, I forgot I got a concussion. I got a concussion there. This is where I kind of tell you the bad side of Bali. We even learned about the government allowing another country to dump a whole bunch of trash onto this tiny island for money. It's like a whole landfill. They can't burn it all because it's so bad for the earth. And so what do? They cover it in grass. You cannot find this in their history book. We literally learned it from SOS, Scholars of Sustenance. Oh, they were wonderful. SOS is this program that takes discarded food from hotels, restaurants, just extra food that is considered bad to sell, but it's still fine to eat. And so they teamed up with these places, and then we cook it. We made it into really yummy meals, actually, and then we packed it. And then that's when we went to this landfill. And and I stepped outside of the bus and it smelled horrible. And I have a really bad sense of smell, so that's really saying something. And then I turn around and there's a school in the middle of this landfill. And there's just a bunch of children who look like me, ages of my siblings, and they're just running around and laughing and having a good time like it's an elementary school. I can't imagine the health repercussions that they have to endure. And little did I know that these lunches were for this community in the landfill. And we bring it to the school. And all the kids are saying thank you. And I literally tear up. We take so many things for granted. They live in trash. Right outside of the school. It's like a little neighborhood. And they don't even have like actual houses. It's just like shacks. Everything that they use, everything is upcycled. Their job is to collect trash and sort them for different recyclables. And then they sell it. They not only have to spend hours of collecting it, but they have to spend hours breathing it in and doing so much of this labor work just for a little bit of food. And it sucks because when you're born into that community, it's so hard to get out. It's like a cycle. Oh my god, why am I... That was pretty crazy. I guess not all the stories in here are crazy fun. That's just one part on how Bali's pollution is really bad. Do I need to take a breather or something? No, I'm fine. We also teamed up with SOS for another day, and it was to clean a mangrove forest. Okay, the concussion story. This day was actually really fun because we got to paddleboard, and I love paddleboarding. We went to a beach. We met up with this guy, and he partners with SOS, and so we hopped on a boat, we loaded the paddleboards, and we went to this mangrove forest area. Parked the boat on the beach. So what happens is that when the tide rises, it fills the forest and the beach with trash, and when it falls, it leaves it there. And so there's trash bags hanging on these trees. There's trash bags inside of the sand on the beach. It's literally trash every freaking where. And there was a whole group of us and we couldn't even completely clean up. Like there's layers upon layers of trash. We were on a time crunch because we couldn't wait for the tide to change. And so we had to move on from the beach. I hate to say it, but I don't even know if it would be possible for just us to pick it all up. We got the paddle boards and we started paddleboarding through the mangrove forest, and we had a basket at the end of our paddleboard, and so we would just pick up the trash and put it in our basket. There's literally just pieces of trash floating everywhere. I'm not even to toot my own horn, but I was definitely like the most experienced paddleboarder, and so I went to an area that was kind of hard to get into just because I knew I could get the trash there. And it was so eerie just being around so much. Kind of spooked myself out so much that I thought there was like an alligator floating around me, but it was just trash. And then he was like, okay, we gotta go. And I was far out. I didn't even have any room in my basket. I had to like put it on my board. Balance it so it doesn't fall off. And they're like, Mads, we have to go. We got back to the beach. We collected a bunch, but if you look back, it's like we barely did anything. It's so hard to feel like you've done a good thing when the job isn't even done. Anyways, one of my friends and classmates, Ifeani, she had a GoPro. At this point, the tide is changing. And so there's like a stronger current, and Ifeani's paddleboard topples over. You got to the beach, and Ifeani's like, I lost my GoPro. And everyone's like, damn, like that has our whole trip, and it just means so much to her. And he was like, okay, I'll go back. And he was like, do you want to come with me? I was like, yeah. And so we both go out, and there's like currents, and I'm paddling, I'm huffing and puffing, I'm trying to look for this GoPro. It's so hard to find it because there's trash everywhere. And now there's a current, there's trash moving everywhere. And so he was like, we gotta go. And I was like, okay. And he said he was gonna try to get a search team out for it the next day. But at this point, we got back to the beach, and the water in which our boat was in was gone. So our boat was literally on the sand. We had to use all of our might and push the boat into the water. This was tiring. I was literally using all my might. We were zooming back to the beach where we came from, and then the paddleboard flies. It flies up because we're going so fast and trying to beat the tide. And I'm like, oh my god. And then so I try to Tarzan my way to the front of the boat where the paddle boards are. And I have a hat on. And then I hit my head on the boat. And I'm like, ow. But I have to keep going. And so I sit on the paddle boards. I hit my head really, really hard because I didn't even see it. And that happened twice. And I ended up having like a tiny concussion for the next couple days. I need a potato taco break. What a time. There's actually something called reverse culture shock, which I feel like not many people know about. Everyone knows what culture shock is. Like when you go to a different country, the culture's so different and it shocks you. But what people don't know is the reverse part. You go over there, it shocks you. You go through things that you've never gone through before. Your mindset changes. You just grow as a person. So when you come back into this routine of a life that we have, you don't necessarily fit into it. And problems that once seemed so important just suddenly become superficial. And it's just like you kind of have like this distortion of life because it just doesn't feel the same. Like you don't fit in it anymore. That's what reverse culture shock is. It's not fun going through it 3 times. Your girl's burnt out. You know, I thought it was like, maybe I'll just stay in college for forever and keep studying abroad. My God, I cannot. It's also something I don't take very lightly. Like I want to learn as much as I can and experience all the good and the bad. But it's so much. It's crazy. Life's crazy. Next study abroad trip, Costa Rica. Don't call it Costa Rica. They don't roll their R's for the Rica. Trust me, I studied there. I also have daily day in my life TikToks in Costa Rica. If you want to check it out, link in the bio. In Costa Rica, it is like a touristy destination as well. So I thought everyone spoke English because in Bali, everyone did. But in Costa Rica, no, nobody. Only if you went to like the very touristy beach areas where it's like only tourists. But we stayed in downtown. It's downtown. I thought people would speak English. And so I had to really touch up on that. There was one time when I was walking around downtown with my class and this homeless man said sexy ching chong to me. Excuse me? But my professor over there ended up getting COVID. Class was canceled. So naturally, me and my classmates partied. Because we were already in like a beach town. We like kind of bar hopped a little bit just to see different vibes. And then there was this one guy, like he tried to ask me out. I was like, oh, it's okay, no thank you. And then he kept following me from bar to bar. Like it was obvious signs I did not want to be around him. He got too close to me, like his face. I don't know what his intentions were, but my girl Jenna, she smacked him in the face. I don't know if it was on purpose either, but she tried to like move his face aside and it kind of just like then he left us alone. Thank you, Jenna. We did meet a local, me and my friends, and became pretty good friends with him. He ended up taking us to his land. It sounds dangerous, but I was fine and I wasn't alone. His land is just like a bunch of grass and he had a Jeep. He was like, oh, you guys want to go off-roading? And it was raining. It was pouring rain. We were like, yeah, we want to go off-roading. He was like, oh, do you guys want to try? And I was like, hell yeah, I want to try. But he had manual, like a driving stick manual thing. And so he taught me. And so I did it and I was learning how to drive manually while off-roading in the rain in Costa Rica. What a time to be alive! That was very spontaneous. Now for my last trip in Ghana. These are crazy in a different way as well. In Ghana, they don't really have many tourists, okay? I explained this in my other video. That all of their tourists are either black or white, and if they do see an Asian, it's like a typical Chinese Asian and no one that looks like me, a brown Asian who's blonde. But then also our group was pretty diverse, just like a big group of girls, and who wouldn't want to look at that? People would literally look like in amazement at our group, like they would go like this. Their reaction was nothing like I've ever seen before. Like they would do double takes. A lot of people thought I was Blasian. When I first got there, they were not letting me through. I needed to get a yellow fever vaccination, so they were looking at my card, and she was like, you didn't get this in the time we wanted you to get this, which was the same time between the first person in our group that got the vaccination and the last person. So how did everyone get in beside me? Anyways, the security came over and he was like, what's going on? I just got to Africa. And then my professor comes. Thank goodness, he's Ghanaian. He speaks the language and he knows how things work over there, so he's like, let my student through. And so I go through. At this point, that was just too much for me. And they tell me to go to this booth. This lady's like, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Are you Blasian? And I'm like, yeah, let me through. And then she's like, wow. And then they let me through. For me, it was a lot of, I don't know another word other than harassment. Almost every day, someone would comment on my looks. It was like in Bali, it was in a different way, because it's a different culture. And so people would come up to me and they'd be like, are you an actress? Are you a model? And I was like, oh my God. Thank you, but no. And then they would ask me for a picture and I was like, yeah, sure. But then they would like touch me in like my waist, or like they try to hold my hand, and it was a lot of like, please don't. And I had to learn how to set boundaries for other people, for myself. Some people asked to take a picture of me, not even with me, just of me. And sometimes it was in like inappropriate times, like at Cape Coast Castle when we were having a slavery tour. That's wild. Why are you asking for a picture of me at this place? Or if they didn't ask to take a picture of me or with me, they would do it anyways, or they would record me. Excuse me, if you're following me with your phone like this, come on. What do I do? People would come up to me like, that guy keeps staring at you. I would go to stores, I would get followed. I got followed by a group of girls, which was less scary because it was just younger girls. And then there was another guy that kept following me in a store. I'm like, I need to find someone I know. And since we're in the topic of harassment, let me tell you the most. Not only was I getting harassed by random people, but I was also inappropriately approached by my guide in the program. And I have a thing with each program, okay? I have my own thoughts on them, but that's for another video because I feel like I know how this works now and how it should work. He's from there. At first I was trying to give him like benefit of the doubt, like I didn't want to assume it was rude, but then it was just so off and he just kept wanting to be with me, so I could not catch a freaking break. Anyway, let me calm down. In Ghana, they have chiefs, and they have different regions. And then within these regions, there's sub-chiefs who have power over the smaller regions in the bigger region. And in their culture, they celebrate Eid. The day before, they were having a ceremony, so we go to one of the chiefs' palaces. But these chiefs are so respected. Our professor was just like really adamant about the way we presented ourselves, because I mean, we were representing our school. We were representing him, who's from there, you know? And they were doing this dance and it was beautiful, okay? I really enjoyed the dance. And they're like, okay, let's go inside the palace and let's meet the chief. In this religion, it is normal for a man to have multiple wives. We met a group of the wives before. We went to a room and it was like, oh, these are where all of my 9 wives were. And I look and there's this young girl who's like 14 and she's pregnant and she's not happy. I have a 14-year-old sister. And when you're chosen to be a chief's wife, you have no say. So there's this ongoing joke about how, because we're a group of girls, wow, you brought so many new wives for the chief from America, from the States. That's so funny. And this is like our 5th chief that we've met so far. And then for this specific one, I was the only one called out this time. Sometimes it's all of us, sometimes it's some of us, but this time it was only me. So we meet the chiefs and then all the dancers come in and then they're like, another show. And then they're like, oh, you guys should learn too. And I'm having fun, okay? It's good music, it's like a cheerful mood, and I'm dancing. And everyone's like, wow, wow, chief's wife, chief's wife. I was like, oh, okay, thank you, thank you. We were going to leave. And here is where it happened. I stood up. 2 men went in front of me. They're like, where are you going? You have to stay. I'm sorry, I can't. Next time. It was so fun. Thank you for having us. They're like, no, you have to stay. You're the chief's wife. And then one of our other guides, she got my arm. She's like, she's not coming with you. We're leaving. Thank goodness. They get out of her way. She lets go of me. Then a man pulls my arm this way. And he's like, where are you going? A different man. No, you gotta stay, you gotta stay. And this is like a grip, like an actual pull. And I'm like, oh, I can't, I'm sorry, but next time. I just keep saying the same thing because what else am I supposed to say? But I know they don't mean harm. One of our chaperones, who happens to be a professor at the school that I went to, she grabs me in this arm. She's like, Maddie, we gotta go. And I'm like, thank the Lord. So she lets go, I let go, so we're walking toward the exit. And then another man grabs grabs me, but by this arm, and I'm being pulled this way. You can't leave. Like, no, no, stay, stay. And at this point, my roommate is fed up. So she grabs this arm, and I'm getting pulled this way by her. She pulls me through again. Bless her soul. She saved me so many times. So now we're leaving. They push me out of the palace. It's raining, and I'm trying to run to the bus. This little girl runs up to me, and she hugs me. And I'm like, oh my God. The professor, the chaperone, was like, go to the bus. I was like, okay. I was like, I'm sorry. Then I had to leave. I had to process it so much when I got to the bus. And I was like, did that just happen? That was like too much touching. Too much force and pulling. Thank goodness for all the women that helped me. I don't know. I've told the story to some people and they're like, I would not let that fly. Like, I would be like, don't you fucking touch me or whatever. This is the chief and his subordinates. And I don't want to be disrespectful at all just because I'm not used to that kind of culture. I'm in a whole different country. I don't know what kind of power he has. I don't know what he would do if I rubbed them the wrong way, you know? It was also like me needing to set boundaries. But, so yeah, that happened in Ghana. I was so drained. Just constantly having to be vigilant. Crazy. Don't get me wrong. We met some wonderful people in Ghana too. I'm grateful for it all. I learned so much. Another crazy thing is one of our guides, she took salsa dancing classes and she invited us to go with her one Saturday and we were like, oh my God, what? In Africa? Salsa dancing? So we go over there, they're playing Latin music, they're salsa dancing, like full on professional salsa dancing. And then they teach us. Never in my life did I think I was gonna be taught salsa dancing from Africans. It's kind of crazy, but it was really fun. It was a cool cultural experience. I guess that's kind of it for today's video. I kind of struggled picking which stories to tell because I had so many wonderful experiences, like going on safaris and secretly meeting up with activists because the government didn't want us to do that. I went to a indigenous community and learned about how the government doesn't take care of them there, so they had to set up their whole system by themselves. Kind of the inequalities dispersed throughout the country. Overall, studying abroad is such an eye-opening experience. I can't recommend it more, really. If you've gotten this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll definitely post more videos about studying abroad and maybe specifics about each place that I went to. I hope you enjoyed hearing my stories as much as I enjoyed kind of reliving it. It's not really much of a mukbang, but yes, till next time. Bye!